Welcome. I am so excited to share Susan's story with you. Susan transitioned from being a teacher to being an instructional designer. Welcome, Susan. I'm so happy to have you here with me.
Hi, Cindy. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it is my pleasure. Tell everybody, so what are you doing now? Where are you working?
So I'm an instructional designer and developer for it's a company called Apex Anesthesia, and they are a subsidiary of a larger company called TrueLearn, and we focus on providing courses and test preparation for people who are in the healthcare industry. So helping residents and nurses prepare for their national board certifications.
Wow, pretty important work. So you're still making a difference for students, aren't you?
Yeah, it's just instead of, children, it's adults. And it's people who I'm helping them advance in their own careers. So yes, it's a lot. I'm utilizing a lot of the instructional design techniques I use as a teacher, but in a more corporate setting.
So what is it like? What is it like to be outside of, of the classroom and do this other kind of work?
It is definitely very different, but I 100% love it. And I'm so happy I made the transition. It's definitely less like physically exhausting, mentally exhausting, emotionally exhausting, which I loved teaching, but it definitely takes a toll on you. And then it's also more fulfilling for me financially, intellectually. So it's really been like a major upgrade in my life.
That is fantastic, right? Because you want to hear that when you make the transition from teaching to another position, that you have all the skills, right? And that you're happy that you're there, that it was a good move.
Yeah.
So was it overwhelming? Did you feel imposter syndrome to go into an instructional design position outside of teaching?
Definitely positive self-talk. But it also was helpful that, you and I have met a few times since I started this job. So you've talked me through that as well. And then my husband as well thinks he's been very supportive through the process. So the imposter syndrome is definitely there. And then so I've been at this job now for a little over a month, and there are days where I still feel that creep in, like if I'm given a new assignment or, assigned to a new project or something, and I still get a little bit scared, but there's also a really big sense of trust that I feel from this company and from my bosses and my team. I feel like they treat me like an expert,
So fantastic. And that little bit of scared, that little bit of stress, that's actually a good thing, right? It helps you learn more, do more, and really exceed at this job, right? And keeps you on your toes and not bored.
Yeah, no, it's definitely kept me on my toes. And I've learned, I brought a lot of skills, but I've also learned a lot of skills, even in the little over a month that I've been there. And yeah, it's been a confidence boost as well. I'm just like starting this whole new route in life, and it makes me feel more confident, more capable, more professional. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Good choice of words. Good choice of words. What was it like, the decision to leave teaching?
For me, it was pretty easy. It was something that I had in mind for the past few years. I actually tried to transition out of teaching about 4 years ago, but it didn't happen. But it had been in my mind for years that I really wanted to be done with that. So for me, it was easy.
Okay. And what about the process? Was the process easy?
The process was definitely very challenging. It's just like a different job market than I've ever had to interview or apply for. Like all the other jobs I had applied for were teaching jobs. And so I knew how to go into teaching interviews and say this, this, and this, and that's going to get me the job. Or
very different. Yeah.
And even like with most of my teaching jobs, I wasn't going into like an applicant tracking system. I was going into the hands, like my resume was going to a principal. It was going right to the source. So there was definitely a big learning curve to start the job process or job application process. And before I enlisted your help, I tried for probably like 6 months on my own, and I put out hundreds of applications.
It's a lot.
And I was kind of just like, with the applications, really wasn't taking the time to do them properly. Now I know, like, you taught me how to do it properly. So I kind of thought before just like doing a bunch of applications, okay, well, someone's got to call me back. Well, that didn't work. So you definitely, I wouldn't have gotten seen by an HR manager at all. Like my applications would have just disappeared into thin air if we hadn't like stopped and tailored every application, every resume, every cover letter to the jobs that I was really wanting. And then, so that was definitely a hurdle.
So thank you. Yes.
Yeah, that was a hurdle that you definitely helped me with. And then the other hurdle, the one I was probably more nervous about, was the interview process. And so this job was one that I got an interview request for this job. I think shortly after I started working with you, and we like dived in and went over, the STAR method and like going over how I should be answering questions by always giving examples. I would have never done that if
all those stories, right? Those
I would not have, I wouldn't have thought to do that. I would have probably given very vague answers if you didn't teach me that. So the process of finding a job is it's tough. And I got to a point where I felt like I couldn't do it successfully without a professional's guidance.
And when we started working together, you actually got the job pretty quickly, because I know that you mentioned that we've had a few sessions together since you're at the job. So you got this job probably in about 2 months, a little over 2 months, because we still had some sessions left where we worked on this career transition. So once you were doing it the right way, it was like boom, boom, pretty fast.
And they ended up telling me later on down the line that my application that we did, it beat out, like to get to the first round of interviews, it beat out hundreds of applications. And then once I did my first interview, then it was down to me and 2 other people. And, we nailed it.
We did.
We nailed it. We nailed it. So it was
that feel, because you were probably even competing against people that were instructional designers, and the fact that you transitioned from teaching into instructional design and made it to be one of 3 to be interviewed and then got the job.
Well, I think too, we because you encouraged me basically to take the skills that I had and talk about how they have how they could serve me in this role, like giving specific examples of how I had gained those skills or what they had given me in my previous job, but then also how it would translate. So you actually like encouraged me to use my past experience, to like saying that my past experience was valid.
Absolutely. For
it was
sure.
Valid.
Yes.
It was valid. And I remember talking about that in the interview and then saying specifically, without even them asking, like how I would apply it to this role. So yeah, it was a fast process for once I started working with you. It was great. Yeah.
So I'm just so thrilled about how perfect everything is working in your life, right?
Yeah.
Clearly something that you have wanted, something that's been probably on the back of your mind. And if we're talking that you were looking to get out 4 years ago, so just to give a time frame for everybody, that would have even been before the pandemic.
Yes.
So
Mhm.
this is like, and then you taught all the way through the pandemic, then you tried for 6 months on your own. So
Mhm.
um, it's like you came home.
Exactly. Yes, it does feel that way. It kind of feels like um life is kind of getting to where I want it to be. I had there's like this reference where it's like something's always in limbo. It's either like your love life or your house or your family. And I felt like I had the love life and the house good. I had the family, or no, it was like career, your family, or your love life, or something like that. And I felt like I had 2 out of the 3, but now I feel like I have 3 out of 3 now. I definitely feel more confident about myself. Like I said, I feel like I'm setting a good example for my kids. I'm being present, but I'm also like, they're like getting to an age now where I can kind of refocus on myself and my career. And because
And they're gonna see that,
yeah,
and you
yeah,
working remotely, they'll even see mommy working. But while you're still able to take them to school and pick them
yeah.
up from school and go to events and celebrate birthdays and
It's really, and I don't know if I can speak for all companies out there, but my company is fully remote, and they are extremely understanding about, that almost probably all their employees have families. There'll even be like Zooms where, kids are in the background. But, we all are professionals and we have multifaceted lives, and our leadership respects that. They seem to respect that and know that, like, they don't have any like, like time trackers or mouse trackers to see like when you're working at what time. Like, it feels like there's a lot of trust to where, like, this is the project, this is the deadline, this is the quality of work we expect. Like, we know you're going to get it done. And when you have that trust, or when you have that feeling, like, it makes me want to do better work, it makes me want to exceed expectations.
I every box checked. That's
Yeah.
amazing. So different from your life before.
Yeah, my life before just felt like, I knew I had a meaningful impact on my students, but I didn't feel like there was room for growth, unless you wanted to go into like school administration or something like that, which I wasn't interested in. Didn't feel, it was hard to, just get daily life done too, like, can't take phone calls, can't schedule appointments, can't,
Yes,
there's
yes, so many things. Yeah.
yeah. So
And your ability to work fully remote changes everything. Changes that up. Wow, I
yeah.
am so happy for you. Do you have any words of advice for any teachers that are struggling with the job search, or wondering if they can do it, or wondering if they even can have a job outside of teaching?
You're gonna have to put in work to get there. But it's definitely worth it once you get through. And if you felt like me, like I felt like I was just like not even treading water. I had like, the water over my head in the job search. Like, you have to seek professional help. There's, you are an invaluable resource. There's help there. So I think it's something you have to invest in too. Like, if you really are personally invested in making the transition, then you need to invest in some professional help, because
You're investing in yourself is what you're doing.
yeah, you're investing in yourself. Like, I can't even believe like how fast the turnaround I saw on my investment. Like, it's a fast turnaround. It's,
Yes,
yeah.
it
So
was
once you
2
make the
months job
commitment,
over
once
that.
you
Yep.
decide you want to do it, you can get it done. It's going to take work. It's going to take investment, but you got to do it if that's what you really want. I will say that it has definitely been an impactful experience for me, but it also very impactful for my spouse too. He can't believe how much our life has changed for the better in less than 6 months. Like, I hired you, and within 2 months I had a job offer, and then now I'm a month and a half into my job, and like, we've had paychecks rolling in, and it's been a fast, good transition.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much for sharing your story. You are
Thank
definitely
you.
going to inspire other transitioning teachers, other women looking to get another career. And I wish you continued success.
Thank you so much.